Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Dr. Mills, and today we're going to be going over the psychological theories. So, I'm going to be explaining some theories presented, authored, or theorized by multiple psychologists, psychiatrists, etc., whatever title they hold. But these people have played a big role in the foundation of psychology. Keep in mind that some experiments, some theories are not true or have been disproven, criticized, etc., etc. But it's about the inspiration that came from it that is monumental. So just keep that in mind. What you read in these theories is not fact. It's not fact. It's just a theory. That's why they're called theories instead of like in science class they got theory or law. But these are just theories. So don't take it as testimony or gospel. Don't take it as gospel. So the first one we're going to be going over is the psychoanalytic theory by Sigmund Freud, which Sigmund Freud is also known as the father of psychoanalysis. So he suggests that in the psychoanalytic theory, he suggests that the unconscious thoughts and desires influence our behavior. My bad. Had a dry throat. He proposed that the personality consisted of three parts: the ID, the ego, and the superego. And the ID is primitive instincts. It's like when you're a child and you have that drive to do it. The ego is the mediator between ID and reality. That's like being a middle-aged person. I'll give you some better examples in a little bit. Just hang with me. And superego, the internalized moral standard or compass. It's that desire to be something more. Here, let me go back in my notes. Okay, so here's my example I wrote down earlier. So the ID is like a hungry monster inside of you. It always wants what it wants right at this moment. And then you have the ego, which is like the superhero who tries to make everyone happy. It balances what the ID wants with the right thing to do. And with the superego, it's like the old wizard guiding the superhero. You can see these played out in movies. My favorite reference for this is Avatar. You have can't remember his name, but you have the old man who represents superego. The one that has the knowledge and is able to look back at at his experience. Well, he tells the ID, which is the Fire Nation kid, that he needs to take a cup of tea, which means you need to slow down, stop rushing things, you can wait. It is not that imperative that it gets done right now. Just slow it down. Everything will be alright. So that's my favorite example of ID, ego, and superego. So, back to what we were saying. Psychoanalytic theory, presented by Sigmund Freud, splits into 3 parts: ID, ego, superego. If you want a good book to read, I would suggest the Interpretation of Dreams, written by Sigmund Freud. That's a pretty good book. I will put links down in the description. Alright, the second psychological theory is the behavioral theory by B.F. Skinner. So, about behavioral theory, it focuses on how behavior is learned through the environmental factors such as rewards and punishments. It was introduced as a concept of operant conditioning, which I will go over in a future video, but it's where behaviors are strengthened or weakened based on their consequences. So let's image this. Actually, I'll draw it for you. So let's say you have let me get a better color for that. Okay. Well, anyways. Oop. Okay. So let's say we have a cat. Oh, I know why it's not like that, because that's the highlighter. Okay. So let's say we have a sorry, I'm not an artist. Let's say we have a cat. We're gonna name him Pablo. Pablo the cat. And then you have little Jimmy. And so this theory is basically like saying, if Jimmy gives the cat a treat for using the litter box, the behavioral theory is saying that he will learn to use the litter box through this award. But it is also saying that it is also saying that if you use a spray bottle whenever the cat uses the bathroom anywhere else besides the litter box, it will weaken that behavior. So that's what Skinner was trying to bring forth in this theory, in the behavioral theory, is that behavior is enforced or discouraged through rewards or punishments, or you can combine them. You can reward whenever you use a litter box and use a water bottle with whenever they are not using the litter box. It goes both ways. Though I do believe there is another theory that using water bottles or spraying the cat does more harm than good. And I can't think of a theory off my head, but it's a theory that you have to act or punish right then and there, because they don't know what they're being punished for if you don't do it right then and there. Hang on, I'll get back to you on that. Okay, well, I can't find that, but I did find a theory that is somewhat relevant. It was a study in 2009 by Alexandra Horowitz, a canine expert and psychologist. I'm assuming it's a she, concluded that a dog's behavior in the presence of owners following a undesirable act is actually a learned behavior of submission in response to an owner's angry emotions. They recommend practicing positive reinforcement techniques. The guilty look is submission and fear, which isn't a good thing when dog training. So I learned something new there. How about that? So yeah, basically, you give a reward, they promote that behavior, you punish them, they withdraw from that behavior, if that makes sense to you guys. The next one is a cognitive theory by Jean Piaget. And here's what it's about, okay? So, Piaget's theory examines how children develop thinking patterns, okay? And their mental processes, how they grow. He proposed that children's progress through distinct stages of cognitive development I said that wrong. He proposed that children progress through the distinct stages of cognitive development from sensory motor to formal operational thinking. So, let me give an example for this. So, we got little Stewie here. And as Stewie becomes Stuart, he goes through stages such as sensory motor to formal operational thinking. So, motor skills. There is a fine motor, gross motor skills, which children grow throughout. If you took early childhood, you would know the motor skills, but I'm not gonna dive too deep into that right now. But they use these motor skills and they go, and that's how they get more cognitive. It's really hard for me to understand this one. I don't want to spew out blasphemy or bad knowledge. I'm not really into this one. Okay, up next is Cognitive Theory by Jean Piaget. All the books that I recommend, they're going to be by the theorists themselves. So I'm not going to recommend you a book that's not from the original source, because it's different from whenever a teacher or an instructor tells you. It's better to read it yourself and understand what it's saying through your own head, because I guarantee you, whenever you're reading that, you're going to think of some situation that relates, and you'll understand it better by putting it into your own situation. So, with Piaget's theory, it explains how children develop through sensory motors and formal operational training. So I'm going to give you an example. Here are my notes. So imagine your brain is like a superhero, And cognitive theory is all about understanding how the superhero grows and learns the new powers as you get older. When you were a little kid, your superhero brain was just starting its adventure. At first, you mostly want to use simple powers like figuring out how to crawl, walk, and talk. These are called sensory motor skills, or it's called the sensory motor stage, where you learn about the world and through your senses and actions, like a baby exploring toys with their hands or mouths. We've all went through this theory one way or another when we were growing up. Either playing with toys, walking, crawling. It's all about the development of children. And as you get older, your superhero brain starts to develop even more abilities to begin thinking in words and pictures. You can imagine things that weren't right in front of you. So your imagination starts going wild. You start envisioning new things. This is where kids start getting their creativity. This is called the pre-operational stage, where you can start to use your imagination and learn things like counting and naming objects. And then whenever you grow older, your brain becomes even more powerful. You start to think logically and solve problems and understand cause and effect. This is called the concrete operational stage, where you become really good at math, science, and understanding how things work around you. Then after that, whenever you become a teenager and an adult, your brain reaches its peak. You can think abstractly. You can imagine your future, understand complex ideas. This is called the formal operational stage, where you become a master thinker, dreamer, and problem solver. So think of cognitive theory like a map to understand how our brain grows and how we learn new things as we journey through life. It's about discovering the abilities of our minds and how they help us navigate through the world around us. Alright, next up is humanistic theory by Abraham Maslow, or Maslow. And basically, it's about human potential, personal growth, and self-actualization. He proposed a hierarchy of needs, suggesting that individuals must satisfy basic needs like food and water before achieving higher levels. So, imagine you're a flower growing in a garden. Humanistic theory is like sunshine and water that helps you grow big and powerful. It's like helping people. It's all about helping people be the best they can be. So the humanistic theory has is like a pyramid, which was produced by Maslow in his hierarchy of needs. So at the base of the pyramid, you have things like food, water, and shelter. I even seen on one pyramid it had sex on there, but yeah. Those are the basic needs that must be met for survival. Above that are safety needs, such as feeling secure in your environment and having stability in your life. And then you have social needs, which is feeling like you belong in connection with others, like friendships, relationships. Then you have esteem needs, which are feelings of accomplishment, recognition, and respect from others. And at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, like I was mentioning before. It's the ultimate goal of the humanistic theory. This is where people strive to reach their full potential. They pursue their personal growth and find meaning and purpose in life. So everything builds up to the highest point in the pyramid. Oh shoot, do I still have this on my screen? Let me get rid of that. Oops. Okay. So the humanistic theory has basically says that everyone has a special thing inside of them that makes them unique, which is your personality. And it's kind of like a flower in a garden. It has its own beautiful petals and its own unique smell. It's important for people to feel love, accepted, and free to be themselves, just like flowers need sunlight and water to thrive. Just like if you have big dreams of what you want to be when you grow up, the humanistic theory says that people have dreams and goals too. They want to be happy, they want to feel good about themselves, and do things they love. It's like a flower wanting to reach up high and touch the sky, grow as big as the Amazon rainforest, or even higher. There is no limit to people's goals. So the humanistic theory is all about the growth of people and the stages of what people need to become the highest level of themselves. So you got food, water, shelter as a basic level. Then you got social. You need friends, relationships. And then you have esteem, accomplishments, recognition, respect, and then you got self-actualization. If you get all those things, you reach the highest point of the pyramid, where you can finally look back and say, I did it. This is, without all those things, Maslow believes that you can't reach self-actualization. So that is the environment that someone needs to be the best version of themselves. And if you need a good book, it is Toward a Psychology of Being by Abraham Maslow. Or Maslow. So Abraham Maslow, I believe is how you pronounce it. I'm not really good with names. It's Abraham Maslow. Okay. Sorry for the mispronunciation. So next we have the social learning theory by Albert Bandura. So Bandura's theory explores how people learn through observation, imitation, and modeling. So let me give another example here on the board. Okay, so here's our illustration. So here we have you. And then you have your little baby sibling. And this sibling is watching you build a block tower that is so high. And then you have that sibling, your sibling, that starts doing the same thing. They're self-modeling after you. They watch it carefully and then they try to replicate it. So it's all about learning by watching other people, called role models. So they learn based off of what you do. Whether it's like learning how to tie your shoes, cook a meal, ride a bike, you often learn by observing or copying the actions of those around us. So be aware that when you do something, they're using this theory of social learning, the social learning theory, and that will become imprinted. And the book recommended is Social Learning Theory by Albert Bandura. So yeah, let's move on to the last and final one. So the last one we got is the biopsychosocial theory by George Engel. So let me put this in a way people can understand. So the biopsychosocial theory is how our biology, you can break down the word and it will practically illustrate itself. Bio includes things like our genes, what we inherit from our family, our physical health, our bodily functions, medical conditions that we might have. Psycho, as in psychology, refers to our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And social, which involves our relationships with others. So the biopsychosocial theory is like how our biology, our brain and body, our psychology, our thoughts and feelings and social environment, our family, friends, and community all work together to influence our health and well-being. So the biopsychosocial theory recognizes our health isn't just influenced by one thing, like our biology or our thoughts. It's a combination of factors, by all three factors, our biology, our mind, and our social situation. For example, if someone is feeling stressed for their psychology, it can affect their immune system and their biology and their relationships with others and their social environment. So things in other sectors can influence. So let's say you get punched in the face, that's going to influence your psychology. You're going to be like, dang, that hurt. Or if you lose a family member, it's going to stress you out, or it'll make you feel grief. I'll give you one more example. So the last example for the biopsychosocial theory is like, let's say you have chronic pain, like back pain. In the biology, from the biological perspective, the person might have a genetic predisposition to certain health conditions that contribute to their pain, like a degenerative disc disease or arthritis, or physical factors like poor posture and muscle imbalances that contribute to the pain. For psychology, this person experiences of pain can be influenced by their thoughts, emotions, and coping strategies. For instance, someone who catastrophizes their pain, believing it's much worse than it actually is, like a placebo, may experience more intense pain sensations. Conversely, someone who practices mindfulness and relaxation techniques may experience less pain due to the reduced stress levels. So, you got your biological things that influence the pain. You also got social factors that can influence pain, which is often how placebos work. And I'm pretty sure that's foundation for the placebo effect. And then you got social environments. The social environment may also play a big role in the experience of your chronic pain. For example, someone's family dynamics and support system can impact how they cope with their pain. Additionally, like factors like a socioeconomic status or access to healthcare and cultural beliefs about the pain can influence the individual's experience and management of their condition. So, considering all three of these factors together, the biological, psychological, and social aspects of the person's experience, you can gain a lot more comprehensive understanding of the chronic pain, and it allows for better treatment plans. So, all three of those factors play into the biopsychosocial theory that everything is connected. It's not just one thing that influences, it's all three. So that's it with the psychosocial or biopsychosocial theory. And the book correlated with it is the title is A Biopsychosocial Approach to the Patient, edited by George Engel. So, I thank you all for coming here and listening. The next one will be coming out on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. So thank you. I hope I see you again in a few days, and let's keep on learning. Bye-bye.